All right.
Action.
Now we're on the inside of 702. What I wanted to do now is just kind of cover, now we have an incident. So someone in Division 21 says, okay, we got a hazmat incident. We're going to go ahead and elevate it. So the appropriate teams and towns are responding, and 702 is going to head out. You're going to get 3 people on 702 from Station 1 here at Archer and Roberts. The supervisor, whoever it is for that day, is going to end up typically being the hazmat operations supervisor branch, whatever terminology you want to use. But that's going to be the person that's kind of running the operations side of the thing, assisting incident command with all the positions and such. So we're going to have 2 other people on here. Typically what we do is one person will kind of be the one that stays in here and works everything in here, and the other person will be the one that might run around on the outside of the vehicle to handle things there. Again, we've kind of got a process in mind when we're coming out of how we're going to set things up. We kind of do it the same way. So those people should kind of know what their roles are ahead of time, and as the call starts to progress, they're going to start taking in information that they're getting from dispatch and from witnesses and police and the affected town, and then they're just going to start going to work. So one of the functions that 702 typically does is science. So on this vehicle we've got a file box that's got really all the paperwork in it that we need to get things started. So the person who's going to be inside here that's dedicated to science can start grabbing some of our hard copy materials, like a NIOSH book, which is something that we strongly recommend people use at the beginning of an incident. It's one of our go-to resources. And then we're going to try to acquire, of course, an SDS sheet, which hopefully we get from the responsible party. One thing that's changed over the years with SDS sheets, or MSDS sheets as they used to be called, is how easily they're obtained now. So we set up a file box here with a lot of the common chemicals that we have here in town that we may see. There's way too many to get them all, and knowing that there's 158 million inorganic and organic substances in the world, and increases every day, there's not going to be any way that we can possibly pre-plant all that material. So we tried to find some highlights, some of the major players in the area. But for example, next door here at the tank farm, they have multiple different chemicals, a lot of bad actors, and there just wouldn't be enough space for us to get them all. So we tried to highlight a few. But our site safety plan, which we're going to do on every one of these incidents, our science forms, other applicable forms for like doing correction factors and such, we keep all that on here. And that person that's going to be dedicated in here is going to spend time getting all that organized and trying to get as much science information as we can to keep the incident going early. If you think about it, science is going to be real important, in our 5-step process. Isolate, identify, notify, mitigate, terminate. To keep this thing on track and not slow down the progress, we kind of work, visualizing that concept. So think about isolation first and foremost. That's probably, as a technician, one of the only reasons that we'll go to the ERG book. But if you look up in the ERG book, the isolate process, we have established 75 feet for a solid, 150 feet for a liquid, 300 feet for a gas. So right away, first step, isolate. If you kind of follow that pattern, we can get that process started immediately. We can get people into a safe area. We can make sure that we're in a safe area. We can start to operate right away, start to get the information out, do a little bit more research on the chemicals, and keep this moving forward. What our question incident command is going to have right away, they're going to want to know if we have rescues. Okay, so it's yes, no. Do we have everyone accounted for, or are we going to go in and look for people? Keep in mind that we have our structural gear with us all the time, and there's a whole lot of hazmat incidents that we can do in structural gear on air. And then a lot of our additional incidents, or the cleanup or the after process, is typically going to be handled in level B. Level A, depending on the vapor portion of this call or gas portion after we do our science might be our go-to. And then we have the MT94. So we got a lot of options. But a lot of hazmat calls are handled in structural gear. So we have our equipment, we're ready to go, we can keep things moving, we can effect the rescue right away if we get some preliminary information done. And again, we don't want to waste time not affecting that rescue while we have people to pull out. So another thing that we've done here to kind of help speed that process up is we have like a little cheat sheet science form that we use. And what that's going to do for us is for that person that's in here, they're going to take a look at that chemical information that we've got, assuming we have a chemical name at this point. And they're going to plug that in with the NIOSH book, they're going to plug that in with the SDS sheet, and they're going to start putting information in here. How is that going to help us right away? Well, again, Incident Command is going to want to know, can we effect that rescue? They're going to want to know if we are effecting a rescue, what kind of PPE we're going to wear. If we're going to put people down range, what kind of monitoring equipment do they need? If we are putting people in, we know we have to decon them when they come out. So they're going to want to know about decon solution, what kind of decon we're going to set up. So this is to help answer all those questions as we're moving down that process. We've handled the isolate, we're at the identify now, we're doing the science, and we want to get Incident Command answers to those questions as quickly as we possibly can so we don't stall out. And that's kind of what that form helps do. We've all practiced it before, we're going to do some more practice this year. But that was kind of the idea there with the guy dedicated to do the science in here. So as we start identifying and we're getting more information about the product, we're affecting rescues, we're not affecting rescues, whatever the situation might be. Maybe we just have some employees that just need some general decon coming out, whatever the situation dictates. But we'll keep moving along and adding and subtracting accordingly. So if typically in an incident, what we'll do is, as we're gathering information, there's a few things inside here that we're going to grab immediately as the person outside's working, the person's inside working, and we're getting our different areas set up. Entry, decon, EMS, safety, all those different sections. So one go-to thing that we grab here, I'm just going to open up a couple of these cabinets. But one thing that the person inside here will grab pretty quickly is this box. And if you think about the beginning of an incident where we're trying to get a lot of questions answered, this is kind of a helpful tool for all of us. But inside here we have a lot of what we call the papers. So as we're starting to get more information about where we stand with this particular chemical, one thing that we can address is multiple families of products with just the papers. We're not talking about pulling any electronics out yet. This is basic Hazmat 101. We're grabbing the pH sticks and we're grabbing the different types of papers that we have so we can try to get an answer as far as maybe we don't even know what the chemical is yet, but maybe we're trying to find out what family the chemical's in. So some of our go-to products: pH paper, acids and bases, our chem classifiers, which is a 5 chemicals in one deal. These are kind of nice because, although you can never get the tubes open. You want to stop it for a minute?